So here's the situation. Here's the timeline of why I ended up in the hospital. First, for a couple of months, I've been feeling kind of tired, and slowly it progressed to even getting worse. But my mindset wasn't that it was a symptom. My mindset was that it was, I'm tired from working out, from running, from doing weight training, so maybe I need to recover. And so that mindset kept pushing me to think that way because I didn't think anything was wrong. So I was getting fatigue, getting that system fatigue, and and to the point where my workouts I had to cut them short because I wasn't taking I wasn't breathing properly. And that was a sign, but to me it was like, okay, maybe I'm just a little bit out of shape, but I still need to just rest, right? So I kept doing that to the point where the week before I got hospitalized, I attracted an upper respiratory infection, and then I couldn't breathe deeply because of that upper respiratory infection. So I had a hard time breathing. So I went to the urgent care to try to figure out, okay, what's going on. And they diagnosed me with a common cold. And at that time, I didn't realize that my body was so weak that it wasn't even trying to fight an infection. So I contracted the common cold. They gave me medicine for it, and I ended up taking it and started getting better. And over the weekend, I decided to just rest, recover, and then I'll probably end up getting better. Well, that weekend, I was just laying down. I started to breathe a little bit better properly with the medicine, but my fatigue was just getting worse. So as it was getting worse, I couldn't really walk across the house because I would get tired right away. So I would go back and lay down to the point that Sunday night I went to sleep and I was coughing and having a hard time breathing. And Valerie came in. She tried to wake me up, and I woke up literally to the point where, like, for 2 seconds, I remember her asking me questions about who am I, what is this today, what am I doing? Because she saw that my eyes were glazed over and I wasn't responding properly. So she even gave me a pen and paper, and I wanted to write down what was she asking me to answer. But I remembered about 2 seconds that it was vivid that I was just scribbling. I was just scribbling, and then went back to sleep. So I remember scribbling, and that was it. And then she ended up calling EMS, and EMS came by, and then all of a sudden, I don't know how long it had been, but I woke up, and they had given me sugar. Didn't realize that my sugar was really low. It was at 18, and I'm not diabetic. And so they picked up my sugar. I woke up. I was alert, and then, say we're gonna set up an urgent care visit later today. So just the hours kind of went by. I was still kind of tired, still really tired, but I was alert. And then when it came down to try to go and get in the car to go to the clinic, I couldn't get up, with enough energy, and I couldn't really walk. So Valerie came by. She stood up. I got off bed, put my hands on her shoulder, and she was guiding me to walk out to the front door. Well, it took a while because I was so tired. I couldn't really do it. So we got to about 10, 15 yards to where the stairs were at, and I just said, no, I can't do it. I'm too tired. I'm breathing heavily. I have shortness of breath, and I can barely even move. So I sat down the stairs, and I thought about, okay, I'm going to get into the car and to drive, probably get nauseated, then I have to get out and go to the clinic, and then next thing you know, probably going to have to go to the hospital maybe. I said, that's too much already. Let's call an ambulance, and let's just go straight to the hospital. So we ended up going to the hospital, and went to the first hospital, diagnosed me or tried to figure out what's going on. Started having some heart failure. My cardiac output, My ejection fraction of blood pumping out of my left ventricle was very low. It was about 10%. So to the point where some medical professional was telling me that when I was asleep and my blood sugar was low and my cardiac output was very low, I was having less blood flow to my brain. So if I was left to go back to sleep any further, I probably would have gone into a coma. So luckily, I was able to be waking up by Valerie and the EMS and have some blood sugar. But overall, went to that first hospital, got information. We found out my heart was failing, kidneys were failing because they were not getting enough blood flow either. Liver was failing, they were not getting any blood flow. So I started having organ failure as well. So they transferred me to a better hospital that deals with that, and that was the Methodist Transplant Hospital. And they started doing more diagnosis, more lab tests, and figured out that the root cause was the heart. So then I got moved to the hospital next to it, the Methodist Main, which is where I'm at now, at the medical center in San Antonio. And that's when they started putting me in through, figuring out that I had an enlarged heart, and started figuring out what the issues were. Still haven't gotten down to the root cause. It was down to the point where I was either taking too many NSAIDs that triggered, that enlarged heart, or it could be genetics. And so that's still in the works of trying to figure it out, but my heart is still failing, and to the point now where they put me on a big machine to help pump blood to the rest of my body because my heart couldn't do it. It's called ECMO machine. And it's a long name. It's an acronym for a long name that I forgot the whole name for it. But it was basically a machine that would go and not just clean it's like a heart dialysis. So it would clean my blood, oxygenate my blood, and then push blood back into my body so I can have my tissues and organs have oxygenated blood because my heart wasn't pumping it enough to it. So overall, and that was a big machine, a big apparatus that was next to the bed. But eventually, a couple of days later, they put me in, and they put a device inside my left ventricle that would help pump blood out into my body. It's called an Impella. So if you want to look for that, Impella 5.5, Google it. You can see that it's almost like a pen, not like a straw, but it sounds like this thin, and it has a little propeller, and if it's inserted inside your heart, and it propels and picks up blood and it throws it out into the body that's oxygenated, so it helps pump blood into my heart by assisting it. So that's what I have right now, and that's what this device is. This is the controller. This is the monitor for it, and this is tied into this white cord down here where I have the device. It's connected, and then it goes down to the left ventricle, and that device is helping me. So that's where I'm at right now, and I'm on the transplant list, on the heart transplant list. Yesterday I was able to get re-enlisted. We did some more lab tests. Basically every month, every couple of weeks, we want to make sure that you are still viable for a heart transplant. Nothing's wrong with you. Nothing's going on that's going to prevent from executing the heart transplant when the heart donor is available. So eventually, hopefully in a couple weeks to 3 months, depending on when a donor is available, I'll get a heart. But that's where I'm at right now. So hopefully that helps people understand where I'm at and how I got here. But that's it for this video. And anyway, have a good day, and see you later.